I believe the Houston Rockets fleeced the Phoenix Suns.
If I'm Devin Booker, I'm pissed and I would want to request a trade because Phoenix Suns, other than 2 years, haven't done anything right by me.
So this brings the question. Does this trade make the Houston Rockets contenders? Kevin Durant is officially a Houston Rocket. A blockbuster trade that happened right before Game 7 of the NBA Finals. The trade is Phoenix will be getting Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, the number 10 pick of the 2025 draft, and 5 second-round picks in return for just Kevin Durant.
I'm just going to say this and get this off my chest. I was right. Because
I was about to congratulate you.
In our Kevin Durant trade target video, I was like, the Houston Rockets, in my opinion, is a team that needs him most, and I feel like the team that fits him most as well. And the Houston Rockets pounce on that, on a package obviously containing with 5 second rounders and multiple players. But when you're looking at it, I think this is an absolute home run for the Houston Rockets because they were probably already looking to get rid of Jalen Green. And the fact that you managed to get Kevin Durant out of it is like speaks volumes in terms of how aggressive they want to be, how much they want to win now. Just because at the end of the day, like when you were down 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors and you forced Game 7, a Warriors team that's a contender, right, that year with the addition of Jimmy Butler, like it just speaks volumes of how much this team has progressed over the years, and that these guys believe that their time is now. And obviously with Kevin Durant and his age, the next couple of seasons obviously is going to be the most opportunistic for the Houston Rockets.
I agreed with everything you said in terms of the analysis last time when we made the Where Would Kevin Durant End Up video. I just thought he would have not ended up being a Rocket. That was just an ultimate thing that I thought. I kind of wished he was a Spur for the sake of our video from last year. But but no, like I said, like I 100% agreed with you then. I agree with you now. This is a match made in heaven for both sides. One, because Houston Rockets got their score. At the end of the day, yes, people might say he's old, he might be fragile, whatever the case may be. I don't agree with that necessarily. When he was on the court this year, he was in the MVP conversations. Yes, he got hurt. I get that. 2, he's not going to have the defensive pressure like he did in Phoenix. Houston is a very good defensive team. Yes, they lose Dillon Brooks. I get that. But they have Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, all these guys upcoming in the identity with Ime Udoka. 3, match made in heaven for Kevin Durant. And the reason why is this. Every time he left a team since OKC, he joined quote-unquote a super team. Or he made a super team, right? Obviously, Golden State was one of the greatest teams of all time with him in it. That one, like again, I don't blame him too much as well because you have 2 unselfish superstars, and at the end of the day, he handled the business. He was the best player on those championship teams with the Warriors. He wanted to obviously prove himself. He decided to bring in Kyrie Irving, get James Harden, eventually Ben Simmons. A lot of drama in the Nets. Then because of that, he requested a trade, or he got traded to Phoenix. I thought it was a good fit, except him with his blessing, I guess, too, and Matt Ishbia going to get Bradley Beal kind of ruined that. A lot of drama there. He said himself that the Suns fans didn't really want him. I don't know how much of that is just in KD's head. But now that he's in the Houston Rockets, and the reason why I believe this is a match made in heaven, he's not necessarily joining a super team already. It will be his team, in my opinion. He's going to be the best player on this team. If he wins a championship with this team, I think his legacy is already cemented, but it will rise his legacy even more. Him winning it, if he could take this Houston Rockets team next year and win a championship with the team around him there as well.
I'm obviously that is 100% fair. And if he's able to lead a team instead of obviously co-lead a team like he did with the Warriors to an NBA title, which is obviously going to be a big thing for his legacy. Speaking of the old fragile body, it is old, skinny, and fragile. But the thing with this is that the pressure is not on him to perform all 48 minutes on all aspects of the basketball, essentially, right? He doesn't have to play make or bring the ball up the court, because you're going to have Fred VanVleet to do that as long as they pick up the option, which I think they should.
Or extend him some sort of way.
Yeah. You don't have to, again, you mentioned defense. You don't have to worry about that either because...
he's still going to play.
Yeah, he's going to play defense, but he doesn't have to worry about getting the best offensive player of the other team, right? Because at the end of the day, when he was on the Phoenix Suns, he was the best defensive player.
He was second to probably Ryan Dunn, who was a rookie last year.
Exactly. At the end of the day, they didn't have much pieces. Devin Booker is obviously not great. And Kevin Durant, he's fine in terms of his length, but as a defensive player, he's not that great either.
He's fine. He's good. I would say he's good. I wouldn't say he's great.
Yeah, because of his length. Yeah. That's what makes him good. And then because now you have Amen Thompson for that, you have Tari Eason off that, you have Jason Tate off the bench for
Jabari Smith.
Right, Jabari Smith Jr. could do that as well. So his just focus is coming in here and getting this team buckets when they need it most. That's all he has to worry about. Realistically, right? That's where all his focus needs to go. That's where all of his effort needs to go, right? And it's simple as that, because the reason why I like this fit so much, right? And obviously for the Houston Rockets, I mentioned before, but for Kevin Durant, is because he just needs to come in and focus on one thing and just do his thing. And that's it.
He doesn't probably arguably the greatest in all time.
And he's that greatest literally the greatest of all time of doing that thing, which is obviously just getting buckets whenever efficiently and whenever needed, right? So that's why I believe this, like, it was, like you said, a match made in heaven in terms of both sides, because Kevin Durant can do his thing while the Houston Rockets can support him and also rely on a scorer when they go on their scoring droughts, which happened in their NBA playoff run, which was cut short.
So here's my thing before I talk about the Rockets side of things, to sum it up for KD. Again, everything you said I agree with. He's also finally should have some stability on a team now, right? And like after the second championship with Golden State, there was the drama with Draymond Green, right? Obviously we saw what happened in Brooklyn with mainly Kyrie off court stuff, right? And obviously we saw what happened at Phoenix this past year. So I think he should have the stability here. That being said, like the lineup right now for like Houston, again, job well done. In my opinion, they fleeced the Phoenix Suns. I don't care what anybody says. We'll talk about the Suns side of things because they were limited. I seen the reports and all that because KD wanted Houston, I think, as his main priority, and he had the big say in that. But so their lineup right now, assuming Fred comes back and everything like that, is Fred, Amen Thompson, KD, Jabari Smith Jr., and Alperen Sengun. So they did a good job of keeping all their young guys outside of Jalen Green. Yes, you lose the toughness and like in your face type guy in Dylan Brooks. That's fine, but you still have the defensive guys there. Like, sometimes you need a guy like that just to rattle people. I get that. Phoenix got a good guy in that, but the only concerning thing for me a little bit now is you lose a little. You need to go out and get another shot creator, in my opinion. So the pressure isn't all on Kevin Durant, because again, Kevin Durant, you just be physical with him. He may get hurt. Something might happen. We don't know. But that being said, though, if this is their current team, I'm still fine with it. They could still make moves, whether it be trade or free agency or the draft or whatever. But like the fact that they're able to keep a lot of these pieces, like the fact they kept Cam Whitmore. I thought Cam Whitmore was gone with Jalen Green regardless, because there were some issues with Cam Whitmore and the Houston Rockets. You still have the Suns picks on top of that. Right, so the Suns didn't even get their picks back, and those could be very valuable, especially if the Suns are going to be bad next year, or the year after, depending on what happens with Devin Booker there. Yeah, you lose a 10th pick. I do that all day for Kevin Durant. You lose second rounders after that only. So you still have a potential maybe to make another blockbuster move or another solid piece. Like obviously at the time of this recording, Drew Holiday already got traded, but I don't think Derek White's going to get traded now because Drew Holiday got traded. But a guy like to that caliber guy you could still add to that team would be insane, right? Guy who could get his own shot when he needs to, but can defend and hit the shot. So they could still go out. They have options. They could stay put if they want to. I would prefer them to go get someone else if they can to alleviate some pressure off of them. And then on top of that, you still have Steven Adams, a guy who he's familiar with, a leadership, and another big man who played very well in the playoffs against the Warriors. Alperen Sengun, we know he's supposed to be baby Jokic, obviously not putting him to that expectations right now. So yeah, this Rockets team is going to be a fun team, regardless. So they have options, right? At the end of the day, they have options, adding or keeping.
Here's the thing with the Rockets. First of all, Sengun, you got to go on your baby Jokic run, bro.
Yeah.
KD's not here for long.
He's probably a couple years.
All right, get your baby Jokic shit right now because they're gonna need it. I think this is a team that's kind of like set up right now. They don't necessarily need to do anything right now because they still have a deadline, right? This is a team that like I feel like if they don't do anything in the offseason to add, I could feel like I see this team adding something throughout the NBA season up until the deadline. I feel like the Houston Rockets will be, much involved in trade talks during that period as well, because I feel like they already got like some sort of setup and their main piece that they need to add in Kevin Durant already done in that sense. But I also agree with one point that you said early on. I think Kevin Durant's going to retire a Houston Rocket.
He should, yes.
Yeah, he should be retiring a Houston Rocket. Like,
yeah,
he has help, right? He has a good coach.
Stability.
He has stability. Kevin Durant wanted Houston. So there is no reason that he should be going to another team in a couple of years or in 1 year, right? Kevin Durant should be ending his career as a Houston Rocket.
Ime
And
Udoka, he's reunited with from Brooklyn Nets days. He was the assistant coach there as well. I believe also Team USA. There again, he's joining a team that finished second place only to the Houston or Oklahoma City Thunder, the eventual champions, with 52 wins. There were 2 wins ahead of the Lakers overall, and so you add a guy like that, and only with this trade, it makes a lot of sense. We'll see what happens. Again, it's easy to say that this team should be better. Bigger and better, whatever the case may be. We'll see what happens with the rest of the offseason with the rest of the teams. But before we talk about the Phoenix Suns, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We talked about the Oklahoma City Thunder and how they had a dominant year for their championship. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and the post notification bell so you don't miss any more videos, because the NBA draft is coming up as well. So we're going to be reacting to that and upcoming free agency as well. And then many other teams as well. But the Phoenix Suns.
here's the thing, and here's the only, I guess, what if I could bring up. What if Jalen Green turns out to be a sick player, right? What if Jalen Green actually lives up to the hype, right? That's like, at the end of the day, if the Houston Rockets don't do anything in these next couple of years and Jalen Green does pop off, then obviously in a couple of years' time, you're going to look back at his trade and be like, yeah, this is an L for the Houston Rockets,
because
right?
people might be comparing it to what happened with Shea and PG. I think Tyrese Halliburton and Domantas Sabonis. But here's my thing. The difference between both those 2 trades to this, Shea was in his rookie year, right? And you moved off of him. Yeah, he may not have been the Shea now. Maybe the change of scenery helped him a lot, whatever the case may be. So, same thing with Halliburton. You moved off of him way too quickly. With Jalen Green, you gave him chances, right? He needed a change of scenery. At the end of the day, he needed a change of scenery. I don't know if this is the best spot for him, in my opinion, in terms of fit and other guards. We'll see, and we'll talk about the team aspect in a second. But you're right. That's a whole huge possibility. But then, if I'm the Rockets, you've seen what he is able to do with you. He's very inconsistent. Some days he'll drop 30. Some days he'll be not great. You can't live like that, especially if Kevin Durant's available. You need to make this trade 10 times out of 10. For this package especially, you do this trade 10 times out of 10. If he does, wish him well. Great. That hats off to you if he does become a Hall of Famer. Like, nothing else he could do. You can't like be like, oh my God, yeah, Kevin Durant, knock on wood, doesn't get hurt, or they don't win anything, and Jalen Green becomes this most improved player, goes to that next step. You can't overreact to that situation, in my personal opinion, unless you're a huge Jalen Green believer.
Yeah, which is fair.
Not.
Like, at the end of the day, it's not like, I don't know. There's a small feeling in my body where I'm like, yeah, I know they gave him chances, but at the end of the day, he still only had like 1 playoff run, right? I feel like, I know he's obviously going into his contract extension now. He's going to be getting paid $40 million.
Yeah, which is a lot of money.
Which is a lot of money, don't get me wrong. And it's not like Cade Cunningham or he's like Scotty Barnes or like Evan Mobley, where like they actually, done something for their franchises so far.
Especially in the playoffs.
Right? Yeah, in the playoffs as well. But when you're looking at it, I don't know, there's just small inkling.
I get
it's
that.
kind of like, I kind of had the small inkling that the Pacers might do good against the Thunder. I kind of having that small feeling where like Jalen Green is just gonna, I don't know, might just go off.
Hats off to him then. Like, at the end of the day, like, you can't regret the trade. No, I'm not even saying Kevin Durant's available. If you were gonna move up Jalen Green regardless, right? He was your second overall pick. He did not have, like, listen, Cade Cunningham in his first playoffs almost beat the Knicks.
Yeah.
Right? Paolo Banchero was really good for the Magic, right? And then, like, we saw Darius Garland step up as a point guard. Yes, he was a second option when Donovan Mitchell got in. You can't, at the end of the day, like, if he pops off, even for Jalen Green's side of things, he needed a change of scenery. Not Houston Rockets didn't need to just move off of him. I feel like it was a mutual breakup that needed to happen.
Yeah,
that's just me.
But yeah, no,
I'm rooting for the guy, right? I'm not.
100%.
Me and you are not the guys that hate on. Like, shout out to the numbers on the board guy. They enjoy basketball as their brand. We enjoy basketball, right? We don't hate on people. We criticize when they need to be criticized. We criticize when we need to be criticized. But at the end of the day, like, both sides needed to move on. This was the best case scenario for Houston, especially. And just in time for Jalen Green to put up and shut up then, I guess, right? Like,
yeah, I'm 100% still on the boat that Houston Rockets, Kevin Durant, match made in heaven, like, need to be done. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at it, that's probably the only thing that you could think of is just like, the only way it might not work out for the Houston Rockets is like, they don't play well the next couple seasons and Jalen Green obviously goes off. That's the only way you could look at it.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking at it, obviously with the Kings and this bonus and Halliburton trade, like year one was like, oh, win-win. When obviously year 2, year 3, you progress and you're like, okay, you know,
which is
Halliburton
fair.
obviously is that dude. But overall, when you're looking at the package and all that stuff and what Phoenix got in return, I feel like it was a little bit lackluster in my opinion.
So a lot of that is Kevin Durant saying that he wants Houston. He kind of put it down. Like to your point, Kevin Durant himself said he might not even take the full max. That he wants to help. Like to your point, should retire Houston Rocket. He wanted this. I looked it up. He did not have a no trade clause like Bradley Beal did.
Yeah.
So what was stopping the Suns from moving him like how a la Kawhi Leonard to your Raptors in 2019? Just like, was it the fear that he was never going to play? I don't see Kevin Durant being that guy, but I get it. Like if it scared other teams. I forgot what the exact Timberwolves package was, but it was a good package in my opinion that I would have done that trade. That's Minnesota's problem to try to convince him, right? You have to take the risk at the end of the day if I was Minnesota. But like you don't like here's the thing. I get it. He did your organization right. He did not complain. He did not bitch and complain like how some other players do in organizations. But you don't owe anything to Kevin Durant because he did not win you a chip. At the end of the day,
exactly.
Like you missed the playoffs this past year. You were swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves last year, and I think you were a second round exit when he was traded halfway. And I don't know if he was injured during that run or he came back in time for that playoffs when it was Chris Paul still with the team to close out. Yeah, so when that year as well, right?
Yeah.
So you don't really owe anything to the guy. Right, it's not like when Kawhi Leonard came for 1 year, won a championship, and it's like, oh, trade me to LA now. Like if he were to be eligible for a trade, then okay, understandable. You got us what we wanted. We'll reward you like this. So that's where I am a little confused. I'm looking at Miami Heat. They did not want to throw many pieces in. It didn't seem like they were too serious. Would try to get him as well. They're trying to appease their fan base, and that's a whole different discussion we'll have later during the offseason. But the return is very lackluster, right? 5 seconds, I get it. Someone can maybe turn Jokic, but that's an anomaly, right? How many second-round picks really becomes superstar players, top 3 centers of all time, or top 3 player in that position of all time? Not really. I can't think of anything. Draymond Green's good, but he ain't Jokic, right? So, like the return, I do not get it. Like I don't know how you could not get a finesse Cam Whitmore in there. I don't know how you couldn't. I get it, I guess, because Kevin Durant really wanted Houston. So you were just either you're trying to appease to him or he's scared off other teams. I get that. But if I was teams in the Eastern Conference, especially with a wide open Eastern Conference, I don't get why it did not happen.
Yeah,
like, a better package could happen.
The Suns from a business perspective, kind of failed in my opinion in this trade.
Like,
right?
Okay, essentially, I'm gonna cut you off for a second. Essentially, you traded Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, all those picks away for Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green.
Yeah, like that's pathetic. That's absolutely pathetic.
And now you're in a huge cap crunch. Now even worse because you bring in Jalen Green, whose extension kicked in, Bradley Beal still there, and Devin Booker. So that makes up most of your cap space. All 3 of them are shooting guards.
I'm gonna say this much right now. If I'm Devin Booker, for the sake of your career, get the hell out of Phoenix because they have done absolutely nothing right by you except for 1 year of your entire NBA career when you got traded for Chris Paul and made the NBA Finals.
I would say 2 years because
I guess
the
2
second
years.
year, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 years. But other than that, like you were there, you were the only hope as a rookie and obviously young guy, but you weren't getting any help. You were literally playing point guard and shooting guard at the same time because they didn't have any. And then now, obviously, you're in that same situation again where they're rebuilding when you accomplish nothing as a franchise, right? Other than one finals appearance, and you get smoked again the next year by the Mavericks. And then after that, you trade for Kevin Durant, and there's literally Kevin Durant and Devin Booker literally had to drop 35 points a game just for them to force Game 6 against the Denver Nuggets, the eventual champions that year. And then you get swept by Minnesota, right? There is no reason why Devin Booker should not be requesting a trade, right? Unless you want to go your whole life without being an NBA champion or a legit playoff threat or a proven playoff player type of thing, right? You fine, stay in Phoenix because right now you're not making it. It's not gonna cut it, right? If you want to get some individual awards, right? Get your legacy up there. You got to get out of there, bro, because they have done nothing right by you other than one season.
They're in a better situation now than they were pre-Chris Paul, even pre-Ricky Rubio, right? Like the Bledsoe days after, like, between that year. Like, obviously, Beal's going to get off the books. I feel like they will be fine. Like, I understand if Devin Booker wants to stay and be that one loyalty guy like Dame Lillard is. And look, grass is not always greener on the other side. Like, you want to get out of there, look at Damian Lillard. Now, injury aside, the Bucks were not good, right? I get it. Doc Rivers was their head coach.
There's a point, right?
But but the point is it's not always greener on the other side. Dwight Howard left Orlando. Look what happened. He up until he became a role player is when he won a championship, right? So like, I'm playing devil's advocate because I actually genuinely believe this time what I'm saying, unlike last time. I see why he wants to be the greatest son of all time. He's proven that he's a playoff performer. We've seen that now, right? For sure. We'll see. For me, it's to be determined. Like, obviously, this year is probably going to be a waste. We get that. Next year, I want to see what happens with the Bradley Beal. Can you switch off of the things? But at the end of the day, yes, the roster isn't the greatest. He's probably playing starting point guard at the moment, unless they decide to bring back Chris Paul, which I doubt it. I feel like the lineup is going to be Devin Booker, one of Jalen Green or Bradley Beal. Maybe Bradley Beal could shut us up for once. Like, we know he's a good basketball player. When he was first got traded there last year, he was not good at all. You got Dylan Brooks. At least your defense went up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Even more. Like, he's gonna be in your face. He'll be a good. I feel like he'll be a good fan favorite in Phoenix. Like how we are with Canada basketball, right? As long as he doesn't have antics that will put him over the top and take dumb 3-point shots. Ryan Dunn, really good rookie year as well. And your signer right now is Nick Richards, right? So obviously they need to upgrade a lot of things. They got the 10th overall pick. Either they've used that and cap Beal. I think you shouldn't, but like, you need to find a way. Or you draft someone really good that can help you now, or you could find a good player with that 10th overall pick. They're keeping Jalen Green as well.
Obviously, they're rebuilding around Booker. Don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
when I'm looking at Devin Booker, like, how pissed off... Like, if I was Devin Booker, I would be pissed off. Because guys like Anthony Edwards, who came in the league after me, has already done so much more than me.
And now he's considered the better shooting guard.
And it's not my fault, right?
Yeah.
Guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander came in after me and is already an NBA champion and an MVP and a Finals MVP, right? Guys like Tyrese Halliburton came in after me and has put up one of the most clutchest postseason runs in NBA history. And again, these guys have already done that, but it's not my fault, right? Because he's not in positions to be in postseason success, right? OKC Thunder and Sam Presti deserve a lot of credit. Minnesota Timberwolves deserve a lot of credit. Obviously, Halliburton and the Pacers getting Siakam deserve a lot of credit of putting a team around their players. The Phoenix Suns have failed to do that other than 2 seasons of Devin Booker's career.
The thing, so those 2 years were really good for them, right? I understand they got their ass kicked in Game 7 against the Mavericks, but I'm just saying, in general theory, they were good years. Even getting Kevin Durant, I applauded them. It was the problem was either you listen to Kevin Durant, because that's the rumor was that he was a big reason why Bradley Beal came. We talked about it at the time that the fit wasn't going to be the greatest. That's what it ended up being, right? So that trade should have not happened. At the end of the day, the Bradley Beal should not happen. I look at ownership at the end of the day trying to be premature and get every star player they can and try to win a championship, right? But at the end of the day, not trying to drag out too long. We'll see. If I'm predicting right now, I think Devin Booker is going to still be there for the next couple of years. I wouldn't be mad at it as long as hopefully the Suns do him right. That's the key thing out of there. Otherwise, I agree with you. Then he needs to get out of there if there's nothing changing in the next couple of years. But for now, like I said, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Let's see what he does. At least be beloved one place. Because you don't want to have a Damian Lillard situation and end the career without ringless. And I mean, he's not hated in Portland, by any means, but you get what I'm saying there, as well. But overall, can this team make some noise during the year? We'll see what this new coach is going to do. Once again, he has another head coach as well.
They're not doing anything this season.
So
they're not.
We'll see what happens in this next couple of weeks with draft and free agency and how that ends up being. The trades are already underway, as we saw, as I said earlier. But overall, let's 2 questions to end this podcast episode here. Number 1. Does this make the Houston Rockets contenders? In terms of like when you're looking at it across the NBA, yes. But when you're looking at it, the loaded Western Conference, it's obviously tough to say that. But overall, when you're a team that's finished second place last year and added Kevin Durant to it, I'm gonna say yes, they are contenders. OKC is the cream of the crop. Obviously, we know that, right? That's why I didn't bring them up. So if I'm bringing them up, and should be the gold standard, they're the favorites heading into next year as well. And there's no one really in the East better than a lot of these teams in the West. If OKC is the top tier, I would say they're half to 1 tier below, right? That's fair to say. So OKC is technically a champions tier, and then they have the contenders tier. So if you're gonna have like that tier, they are in the next tier with potentially the Lakers, potentially the Knicks and the Cavs, depending on what they do. The Nuggets, we'll see what happens with that.
So they're contenders.
So in my opinion, yeah, they are at contender status. Can they be, like, if you were to bet right now, what would be the series between this current OKC team and the Rockets? This current Rockets team on paper? 7, but you probably lean OKC slightly.
Yeah, I'll pick OKC, but it's 7, bro.
But we'll give them trouble because we saw OKC.
Yeah.
Was
We saw OKC not be,
So okay, I'll give you that. They are contenders. We'll see how they actually perform. This is on paper. And the final thing to discuss before we close it off here is the grades. And I'll start off with the Rockets, A. Simple as that. The package was insane. They did not give up more than just Jalen Green. They matched the contract with Dylan Brooks. I love the fact they kept Fred VanVleet. I feel like you still need another veteran guy with Kevin Durant there. You have Jeff Green already there, who Kevin Durant was teammates with. Steven Adams. I guess every single Rocket. At one point, Rocket was 1 Point Thunder as well / Supersonic. But I love the fact they kept Fred VanVleet. I feel like they need his at least leadership and ball handling and defense and all that. And he doesn't have to have the pressure of trying to do what he did in games 6 and 5. For the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to say C- D+. I feel like at the end of the day, your hands may have been tied. I get that. You needed to make some type of change. Unfortunately, it's the one that you did not really want to make at Kevin Durant. But I feel like there could have been better packages. So I'm going to still say it. You still got Jalen Green. So yeah, C- and D.
Rockets, I get an A+. I've been asking them to do this the whole time, and they actually did it without giving up too much. And for the Phoenix Suns, I give them around that C range as well. They were able to get something. I think they could be able to flip some stuff. But overall, I think, the Rockets just absolutely dubbed up on this.
That being said, check out our reaction video popping up of the OKC Thunder winning the championship. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and the post notification bell, as we will be dropping more content on this channel with this offseason coming up. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.